Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak of hidden plans and secret unions, we often imagine something cloaked in mystery, a narrative that belongs to tabloids and late-night whispers. But today, I invite you to look at secrecy through a scientific lens, because the brain itself is a master of hidden preparations. Long before we announce a wedding or a life-changing decision to the world, intricate neural pathways have already exchanged vows in silence. Entire networks of memory, emotion, and prediction conspire quietly, weaving a future that only later becomes public. Consider the hippocampus, that small, horse-shaped structure deep within the temporal lobe. It is both archivist and architect, preserving past experiences while sketching possibilities we do not yet dare to name. Research from the University of Pennsylvania shows that when people anticipate a major life event, moving to a new city, changing careers, or choosing a life partner, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex engage in a delicate dialogue. They simulate outcomes, compare rewards, and test for resilience, often months or years before any outward action is visible. In that sense, every wedding is first a neurological rehearsal, a secret engagement of synapses. I have witnessed this in my own laboratory and in the lives of patients and colleagues. A gifted young researcher once confided that she had decided to leave a prestigious program to build a family. What fascinated me was that her brain scans, taken for an unrelated study half a year earlier, already revealed subtle but measurable changes in the default mode network, regions tied to self-reflection and long-term planning. Her conscious mind had not yet caught up with what her neurons already knew. This is why the idea of a secret wedding plan resonates far beyond gossip columns. It is a profound metaphor for how our biology works. Our nervous system is always planning the next union of ideas, of cells, of futures. Every meaningful decision is a kind of marriage between intention and possibility. But secrecy is not merely passive. The brain protects fragile new plans the way a couple guards their private moments before announcing their engagement. Neurochemically, dopamine surges when we hold something precious and undisclosed. That surge sharpens focus and increases motivation. A study published in Nature Neuroscience demonstrated that people asked to keep a joyful secret exhibited heightened activity in the ventral tegmental area, the same region that lights up when we fall in love. Concealment, when it is chosen freely, can be a source of vitality. Yet secrecy has its shadows. Chronic suppression of important truths elevates cortisol, erodes immune function, and distorts memory. I recall a patient, let's call him Daniel, who carried the burden of an undisclosed relationship for years. By the time he sought help, he suffered from insomnia, hypertension, and a constant state of vigilance. When he finally shared his story with a trusted friend, his physiological markers improved within weeks. The secret itself was not harmful, the isolation was. What, then, is the healthy balance? Neuroscience suggests it is the dance between privacy and connection. We thrive when we nurture our inner plans long enough for them to mature, but we also thrive when we eventually share those plans with a supportive community. A wedding, literal or symbolic, is that moment of courageous disclosure. Think of the cerebellum, often overlooked in discussions of emotion. Beyond coordinating movement, it fine-tunes our timing, when to step forward, when to wait. Successful couples, successful innovators, even successful cells rely on timing. Reveal too soon, and the idea may collapse under scrutiny. Wait too long, and the opportunity passes. The brain's intricate timing circuits remind us that revelation is both art and science. I often draw parallels between human relationships and the way neurons form synapses. Two cells approach each other tentatively, extend filaments, test for compatibility. If the fit is right, they release growth factors, strengthening the bond. If not, they withdraw without drama. Over time, entire networks emerge, complex, resilient, and capable of feats no single cell could achieve. A wedding, in this light, is simply a macro synapse, a leap of connectivity that allows a new network a family, a future, to spark into existence. And here is where personal health intersects with this grand narrative. Our capacity to love and to commit is not separate from our biology. Oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone, floods the bloodstream during moments of trust and mutual gaze. It lowers blood pressure, dampens the fear centers of the amygdala, and even accelerates wound healing. Every authentic union, whether of partners, friends, or collaborators, literally heals the body. As we explore these truths together, remember that the notion of a secret wedding plan need not belong to celebrities or billionaires. Each of us carries private vows, the decision to change careers, to start therapy, to adopt a child, to launch a daring experiment. These plans live first in the quiet, synaptic whispers of the brain, guarded by chemistry and nurtured by imagination, until the moment arrives to step into the light. The journey from secret intention to public reality mirrors the very evolution of our species. Early humans survived not only because they shared information, but also because they sometimes withheld it, safeguarding the location of scarce resources or the timing of a hunt until the right allies were present. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies find that selective secrecy. Choosing when and with whom to share remains a key to cooperation. In this way, the hidden preparations of a wedding echo, an ancient survival strategy, protect the fragile seed until it is ready to sprout. But what determines that readiness? The answer lies in the intricate dialogue between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. The limbic system supplies urgency, the pulse of desire and emotion. The prefrontal cortex offers reasoned assessment. When these regions achieve harmony, action follows with a sense of inevitability. You may recall moments in your own life when a decision seemed to make itself. That sensation is the brain's consensus, a neurological handshake between passion and prudence. I have seen this in the fMRI scanner countless times. A subject will contemplate a major step, ending a habit, confessing love, choosing a partner. And as the prefrontal activity crescendos, the amygdala's anxiety dampens, and a distinctive pattern appears, a quiet, almost musical synchrony across hemispheres. It is the neural equivalent of a wedding march, a subtle announcement that two inner voices have agreed. Yet our modern environment complicates this ancient process. Social media pressures us to reveal prematurely. A single post can transform a private exploration into a public spectacle, recruiting the judgment of strangers before our own biology has found equilibrium. The cost is measurable. Studies from Stanford demonstrate that premature disclosure of personal goals can reduce the likelihood of their completion, as the external validation substitutes for the internal reward. In other words, the applause we seek can trick the brain into believing the work is already done. This is why I urge you to guard certain dreams, at least for a time. Let your neural wedding plans mature away from the noise. Silence, used wisely, is not secrecy born of fear, but an incubator of strength. Even the most dazzling innovations, space travel, clean energy, breakthroughs in neuroscience, begin as quiet sketches on a page, protected from premature scrutiny, until their architecture is strong enough to withstand the world. I am reminded of a patient named Leela, an accomplished violinist who struggled with debilitating performance anxiety. For years she concealed her ambition to compose original music, fearing criticism. In therapy, we reframed her secrecy not as cowardice, but as gestation. We practiced mindfulness techniques to strengthen the insula, the region tied to self-awareness. Gradually, she unveiled her work to a small circle of trusted peers. Today, her compositions fill concert halls. Her story illustrates a principle the mind needs, both the shelter of privacy and the courage of eventual revelation. Physiology supports this rhythm. Dopamine, which fuels our drive to achieve, operates on a cycle of anticipation and reward. If we reveal too soon, we collapse that cycle, robbing ourselves of the anticipatory phase that sharpens creativity and resilience. Think of it as a neurochemical engagement period. essential for a strong marriage between idea and execution. And when the moment to reveal arrives, the body responds in ways that border on the miraculous. Heart rate variability increases, signaling adaptability. Endorphins surge, producing a sense of transcendence. At the cellular level, telomeres, the protective caps of our chromosomes, actually lengthen in people who make authentic, life-affirming commitments. Harvard's longitudinal studies of adult development show that individuals who enter loving partnerships, whether romantic or deeply collaborative, not only live longer, but maintain sharper cognitive function well into old age. So when you hear whispers of secret wedding plans, whether in the life of a public figure or the quiet corridors of your own mind, understand that you are witnessing a universal dance between biology and destiny. The secrecy is not trivial, it is vital. It allows the nervous system to perform its delicate choreography, aligning emotion, reason, and bodily health for a leap into the unknown. But we must also address the emotional dimension. Commitment invites vulnerability. To pledge oneself, whether to a partner, a mission, or a community, is to accept the possibility of loss. The amygdala, ever vigilant, warns of danger, yet it is precisely in embracing that risk that we expand our capacity for joy. Neuroscientist Jack Panksepp spoke of the seeking system, a primal network that drives exploration and attachment. When we choose connection over isolation, we activate this system, flooding the brain with the same neurochemicals that powered our ancestors' migrations across continents. I often tell students that love and discovery share a neural fingerprint. Both require curiosity, courage, and the willingness to be changed. A wedding, literal or metaphorical, is the ultimate experiment, two minds agreeing to grow in tandem, to confront entropy with shared purpose. From a purely biological standpoint, such unions enhance genetic diversity, yes, but they also accelerate cultural evolution. Every great scientific breakthrough, every social renaissance is seated in partnership, and here we touch the spiritual dimension, one that science increasingly validates. Practices of awe and gratitude, once dismissed as poetic fancy, now reveal measurable benefits in brain imaging and immune profiles. When two people stand before witnesses and declare commitment, they generate a collective field of awe, a resonance that strengthens not only their own neural circuits, but those of everyone present. This is why weddings, even of strangers, can move us to tears. We are wired to celebrate union because our survival has always depended on it. Let me offer one more perspective, drawn from cellular biology. Within each of us, mitochondria, tiny powerhouses inherited from ancient symbiotic bacteria, serve as a living memory of partnership. Billions of years ago, a solitary cell welcomed another into its interior, forging the eukaryotic lineage that would give rise to plants, animals, and humans. Without that primordial marriage, none of us would exist. Life itself is the legacy of a secret wedding plan, executed with perfect timing on a microscopic scale. As you reflect on these layers, neural, emotional, societal, evolutionary, consider the private vows you may be nurturing even now. Perhaps it is the decision to change your health habits, to reconcile with someone you love, to embark on an uncharted creative path. Protect those vows, feed them with knowledge and patience. Let them mature until your mind and body signal that unmistakable readiness. Because when that moment arrives, and it will, you will feel the quiet certainty that has echoed through every human and cellular union before you, a convergence of rhythms, a deep exhale, a recognition that the secret plan has become a living reality. And so we arrive at the threshold, the place where secrecy meets revelation, where the hidden work of the brain, the heart, and the body comes forward to meet the world. This is not merely a ceremonial instant, it is a profound shift in state. The neuroscientist Antonio Damasio has written that emotion is the bridge between physiology and consciousness, and in this moment of unveiling, that bridge is illuminated. The pulse quickens, the skin tingles, not from anxiety alone, but from the sudden recognition of a new reality taking form. I have observed this transformation not only in couples, but in innovators, explorers, and those who devote themselves to healing. A physician I once mentored spent years quietly developing a therapy for traumatic brain injury. He shared the project with almost no one, fearful that premature exposure might derail it. When the time finally came to present his results, he stood before a packed auditorium and felt a calm he could not explain. His body had rehearsed this moment long before his conscious mind gave permission. The unveiling was not just an announcement of data, it was the embodiment of a vow to alleviate suffering. This is the essence of any wedding plan, secret or otherwise, the gradual alignment of inner and outer worlds. The union may be between two people, between a person and an idea, or between humanity and a higher purpose. In every case, the pattern is the same. First comes the quiet recognition, then the private nurturing, and finally the courageous leap into shared existence. When we step forward in this way, something extraordinary happens to our perception of time. Research in chronobiology shows that moments of profound commitment alter the brain's default mode network, creating what psychologists call time dilation. Hours can seem to slow or expand, a gift from the nervous system to mark significance. It is as if the universe itself is pausing to bear witness. I remember standing beside a friend as she exchanged vows with her partner after years of private struggle. The ceremony was simple, a circle of loved ones, a few whispered promises. Yet in that stillness, we all felt time stretch and deepen. The air seemed thicker, the light more vivid. Later, scans of people recalling similar experiences revealed heightened activation in the posterior cingulate cortex, an area linked to the experience of awe. Science, again, affirms what the heart already knows: moments of true union bend the fabric of our awareness, and we must not overlook the health implications of this transition. Studies from the University of Chicago demonstrate that authentic long-term partnerships lower systemic inflammation, reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, and enhance immune response. The effect is not confined to romantic unions. Deep friendships and collaborative missions offer the same benefits. Commitment literally shapes our biology, strengthening us against the inevitable stresses of life. This is why I often say that every person carries within them a kind of sacred architecture. You are designed for connection. Your neurons reach outward, your hormones respond to trust, your genes express themselves more vibrantly when you belong. A secret wedding plan is not just a story of two individuals deciding to share a life. It is a testament to the fundamental truth that health and wholeness emerge from relationship. Yet to honor this design, we must also honor autonomy. True union is never coercion, it is chosen vulnerability. The brain's reward circuits differentiate sharply between forced compliance and voluntary commitment. Only when the decision is freely made does the cascade of beneficial neurochemistry unfold. This is why every authentic partnership, every creative collaboration, every quiet promise kept is an act of profound freedom. Think again of that ancient symbiosis that gave birth to complex life. One cell invited another inside, and both became something neither could have imagined. They did not consume each other, they co-created. Our own lives are an echo of that primordial yes. Each time we choose to unite, whether in love, friendship, or a shared vision, we reenact the miracle that made us possible. So as you listen to stories of hidden engagements and whispered plans, let them remind you of your own inner preparations. Perhaps you are nurturing a bold idea that the world is not yet ready to see. Perhaps you are quietly healing, gathering strength for a conversation long delayed. Perhaps you are already at the threshold, sensing that the time for revelation draws near. Trust that process. Your brain, your heart, and your very cells know this rhythm. And when the moment arrives, step forward with the full knowledge that secrecy was never deception. It was devotion. It was the patient work of aligning desire with reality, of letting your inner architecture mature until it could bear the weight of daylight. As I stand here, sharing these reflections, I feel the immense privilege of witnessing countless unseen weddings, the unions of minds and ideas, of courage and opportunity, of individual lives with the larger story of humanity. Each of you is carrying such a union within you right now. So let the world gossip about secret plans if it must. You know the deeper truth that every meaningful act of love, every daring leap toward the future, begins in silence, grows in trust, and ultimately blossoms in a moment that changes everything. When that moment comes for you, may you recognize it not as an end, but as a beginning, the start of a chapter that only you could write, a testament to the hidden brilliance of your own becoming. Step into it fully. Let the quiet vows you have nurtured in the private chambers of your mind ring out across the world, clear and strong, as the ultimate proof that we are made for connection, for creation, for a life shared and illuminated together. Thank you.